Hey guys, and welcome to my guide to Insurgency Sandstorm competitive mode. This guide is meant for people that never play competitive, as well as players that played it but are maybe a bit confused with how the competitive mode works exactly. So in this video we're going to cover how objectives work, general winning strategies, and how to react properly in 6 different specific situations. Stick around. The main reason why I decided to make this tutorial was seeing how a lot of people that I play with get overwhelmed and don't react properly to certain situations in late parts of rounds, therefore losing potentially won situations. More than often, you see players camping the only objective that their team has with only 30 seconds left on the clock. This isn't them being quote-unquote hardcore campers or anything, but is related to not fully understanding the rule set. This video will only cover decision making around capturing objectives, while equipment and other aspects might be covered in a future video. So let's go over the basics real quick. 5v5, best of 8, 4 rounds on each side. First team to win 5 rounds wins the match overall. There can also be a draw, which would be the score 4-4. Each team starts from their spawn, same as in, for example, Counter-Strike. There are 3 points or objectives, A, B, and C. At the start of each round, each team already controls the objective closest to their spawn, meaning either A or C, while B is always neutral. Objectives work like in domination mode or capture point in almost every other game. You need to have more players than the other team in order to progress through the capture. You cannot finish capturing a point as long as there's an enemy contesting it, and that's called blocking. Each round lasts 2 minutes and 30 seconds. There's also the potential of going into overtime, which lasts up to 60 seconds. Overtime is triggered when the time runs out, but only if a point is being contested at that moment. Whoever has 2 points captured and uncontested wins the overtime, even if the last point is currently contested. There are 3 main ways to win a round in competitive firefight. Number 1, kill the last enemy player alive. The reason why it's not kill all enemy players is the respawn mechanic. After someone fully captures an objective, all of his dead teammates respawn. Number 2, fully capture all 3 objectives. Number 3, control 2 uncontested objectives when the time runs out. Now that we know the basics, let's get into actual situations you can get yourself into and try to find the best solutions. We'll start with simpler ones and slowly progress to some interesting cases. Knowing these might prove useful in your everyday gameplay. Situation number 1. It's early in the round, there's 5 people alive in your team captures point B, and nothing else is really going on. So what do we do here? The best play is not to push the last point, but improve your defensive positions and wait for enemies move. So many times you see teammates pushing the last point for no reason, and then dying there and letting the enemy get a free cap on an unprotected point. So that seems pretty straightforward. Let's see what we can improve in decision making in a very similar situation. Situation number 2. It's early in the round, 5 alive in your team, you just started capturing point B and nothing else is going on. This is where you should leave point B at about 90% capped and get a position somewhere close to it. The main reason for this is that you want to be able to quickly respawn your fallen teammates right after they die. Other than that, you're playing the same way with the same goals as the situation number 1, so this one is clearly better than the previous one for your team. Situation number 3. You're the only one alive. There are 2 enemies alive, you control 1 point, and there's 30 seconds on the clock. Your best bet is to try to get one of the 2 objectives and resurrect your team. If you can, you should go for a point that is far away from your spawn, so your teammates can capture the one closest to your spawn as soon as they res. Otherwise, you might end up capping a point and then not making it to the next one before the time runs out. The other choice is to try and kill the remaining enemies, but since you don't know where they are, that's not the best choice. It's basically a reversed situation 1. It's not likely that they'll push your point together. Situation number 4. You're 2 alive, there's 1 enemy alive, you control 1 point is neutral, 1 minute left on the clock. In this situation, you definitely don't want to let the enemy capture a point. You could do multiple things, but it's advised that you try to capture the neutral point together. If you try a greedy split, one defending and one trying to capture, you could end up in a 1v1 situation where you have to do a solo push into a point currently being captured. Going together means that you can try to at least trade the kill right away. Situation number 5. You're 2 alive, 2 enemies alive, you control 1 point, there's 1 minute left, your teammate is currently capturing one of the enemy's points and you're defending your only point. 2 enemies then run in and start capturing the point you're defending. Your job here is to delay as long as possible. The enemies cannot capture it fully while you're on the point, so try to find a decent spot deep inside the point that you can hold and do not push. It's very important to prolong the fight as long as possible. Throw a Molotov on the door if you have one. When your teammates respawn, they will take care of the enemies. Situation number 6. This one gets a bit tricky. You're the only one alive, 1 enemy alive. You control 1 point, there's 10 seconds left, and you're going for one of his points, but while you're running there, he already starts capping your only point. Your only play here is to instantly go back and try to kill him. If you try to cap his point, you're going to go into overtime, and after his capture, which is faster than yours, your capture is meaningless, as your enemy is already going to have 2 uncontested capture points. Alright, before we go, a bonus fact, you can also draw a single round. That occurs when the overtime runs out and neither team has 2 uncontested objectives. It's very rare, but it's very interesting. Alright, that was my first Insurgency video. If you found it useful and would like to see more, leave a like, comment, feel free to subscribe. You can also catch me streaming on Twitch, links in the description. See you in the next one.